it's Jen with SOT Astrology and Tarot. Today we are doing the tarot version and we are doing a tarot tutorial on how to read the court cards. So I always thought the court cards were the most difficult to read. I just didn't understand them. I didn't understand, okay, why, do we have a Queen of Cups? Wouldn't that just be the Empress, and it was always confusing to me, but I've really learned over the years on how to really kind of, instead of just pulling out your book and learning and memorizing what all these mean, you can use astrology to tie in with tarot to kind of master what each card means just by looking at them and just knowing off the top of your head, okay, this is what this means. You don't have to memorize it, you just have to look at the picture and you'll know. And of course, using astrology just makes it that much easier. So if you have a good, keen astrology practice and you understand astrology, this will come super easy for you. So your tarot practice will be that much easier. And if you are into tarot already and you already know what all this means, you'll be able to transfer that to your astrology practice. So all goes hand in hand, all just happy. So what are the court cards? We're just going to start out with that. The court cards represent the who. So someone who may be an influence on said reading. So if it's a love reading, maybe it's your love interest. If it's a career reading, maybe it's your boss, maybe it's a coworker. And you really can fine tune who that is by looking at the suit and looking at the element and fine tuning from there. So as far as suits go, we have, and we're going to be using today for examples, we're going to be using the Rider-Waite deck, and then we are going to be using the Aquarian Tarot deck. So you see that they're a little bit different. This is both the card for the Page of Wands. They look a little different. If you're new to tarot, I definitely recommend starting out with the Rider-Waite deck. They have a lot more action going on, a lot more things going on the cards, so you can look at it and kind of get a feel for it without memorizing. There's not as much, but I think the Aquarian deck is just it's got beautiful artistry on it, so that's why I like that one also. So, so for the suits, we have the pages. Starts off with the pages, and pages about youth, curiosity, learning. So it's pretty much that naive kind of like newborn baby, just kind of coming into the world with all that just awe and wanting to know about everything. So then we go on to the Knight. So this is more of the action adventure. Could be like a young adult in your life. This has movement. You can see on the Rider-Waite deck a lot of movement going on, marching forward. Next in the suits we have the Queens. So here we have, I pulled from the same ones. That was not right. We have the Queen of Wands. So we have the Queens here, and the Queen is the nurture, that's the emotional depth, that's kind of fine-tuning those skills, fine-tuning it with intuition, using that gut instinct for that skill that you're going for, whatever the reading is about. And then finally we have the King, and the King is about that mastery, that leadership, authority, and we'll go into what all those can mean in the different type of readings as we move on. So the Kings, going back to how it ties in with astrology, so the Kings are those cardinal signs. So the King would be, of course, Aries, and then that would be the King of Wands, but we'll get into which each suit would be. So the Kings would be the cardinal signs, Queens are the fixed signs, and Knights are the mutable signs. So when we look at the actual, we look at the actual element, and that's all about the suit. So it's not the suit, but the suit. So if you're going for wands, for instance, we have the wands are fire. So we're going to show these first because the zodiac pretty much starts out with the fire. So wands or rods, in this deck, the Aquarian deck, they call them rods. A lot of times they're wands, so sometimes the name's a little bit different. But that is pretty much the fire sign. So that's represented by all the fire signs. So fire is creativity, the action, our will, our motivation, what you want to find in this, the reading you would want to find these cards in is when you have a goal that you're going after, when you have maybe a job interview that you're going after, or when something that you're trying to achieve. These are Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. And then we have the cups, which come up next. And so here we go. I'll show you in each. So here is the Page of Cups in the Rider-Waite deck, and then in the Aquarian Tarot deck. So the cups are, what's in a cup? Water. It's the water signs. So it's that emotion. It's our feelings, our relationships, our love, and if you have or if you're doing a love reading, that's when you want to see a lot of cups come up, because that is about our love. That's about how we care for each other. And so it's more about our emotions. So then we move on to the swords. So here we go. Here's the Aquarian deck with the swords, and here is the Rider-Waite deck with the swords. So the swords are the air signs, and that is our ideas, our thoughts, our intellect. You want these to come up with readings on how to. How do I go about doing this? How do I go about learning this? So those are the type of readings you want to see that. That's, of course, the cardinals are the Libra, Aquarius is fixed, and Gemini for the mutable. And then finally we have the Pentacles. Where did I put my Pentacles here? Oh, I put them in the wrong spot. So we have Pentacles of our Aquarian deck right here, and then Pentacles of our Rider-Waite deck right here. So the Pentacles, or coins, some decks call them coins. So if they are the Pentacles or coins, that is what's left, the earth signs. So the earth signs would be, of course, Capricorn as the cardinal, Taurus as the mutable or as the fixed, and then Virgo as the mutable. So you want these to come up when you're doing something about health, because this is about your body, your health, your actual physical body. It also has to do with your wealth or your job, so money and your home. So any kind of materialistic kind of readings, that's what you want to see come up with those. Of course, again, the pages. So we have the pages, and they represent, now we'll change it up a little bit. We'll do swords. So the pages represent, again, youth, nativity, eagerness. So if you're looking at, we have the Page of Swords here, this is about ideas. So, just getting a brand new idea, and, oh, I got this idea, and bing, it's kind of like that light bulb goes off. So we have, and then we go on to the knights, and that represents our passion. So we have the Knight of Swords here. That's maybe a young adult in your life. Pages can also, going back to pages, that can also be about messages, or someone bringing you a message. So it could be a messenger, could be something to that effect. So the pages are all just about whatever is bringing that idea to you, and before you kind of get started. Now, the Knight of Swords, like for instance, is about taking action on that idea. Okay, now I know what I want, so I am going to go about figuring out how I make this happen. So, the Knights are taking action. If you look at the Knight, especially in the Rider-Waite deck, he's charging forward. So, that is action right there. It's some of the Knights are the most action-packed cards in the tarot deck, because that is about just moving forward with an idea. If it's a sword card, if it's a wand, moving forward and taking action on something that you're going after. Maybe if it's the Knight of Cups, you're going after pursuing a love interest. And if it's Pentacles, it's, maybe going after money, going after taking care of your body, you know, maybe working out or something like that. So then we have the queen. So the queens are that deep knowledge, really kind of, you know, when you look at the swords, I think the sword kind of represents the queen the best of describing it, because it's almost like a fine tuning. Look at her holding the sword up. It's really pinpointing and fine tuning and sharpening that, you know, your thoughts. So sharpening your intellect, really fine tuning what you're trying to do, cultivating it from within and having it become almost second nature. And then of course we end with the kings, and the kings are that intellectual, they're communicators, they're leaders, they're strategic, they're providers, they're authority figures. So this king of air, so that would be, you know, maybe even a teacher, somebody who has, you know, all the knowledge that they, you know, went to school for, and now they're using that knowledge as and passing it on to their students. So you kind of see how that will work its way out, you know. So each one, you see how they kind of mature and they grow throughout the stages. So it's you know, all the ones would be that fire, but yet they kind of grow and progress as we get farther up the chain. So they're the masters of the suit would be the kings. Pages, you know, are kind of the children just starting out almost. So they're kind of that naive little children that just are taking everything in. So if they come up, say, in a negative or challenging area, or if you use reversals, which I don't, but if you do, it just kind of shows what you're struggling with. So, for instance, let's say you come up with we'll say the Knight of Pentacles. Okay, so you have the idea started. So we're already past the page. So we have that idea started, but if this is in a negative spot, like say it's in, you know, where we might be having our challenges, where we might, you know, see those problems come up. If that is in a problem spot, we're having maybe trouble with money, maybe having trouble with getting started on an exercise regimen. You know, could be, if it's money, keeping our money. Maybe, especially with a knight, maybe we're spending a little too frivolously. So if it comes up in a negative area, so it's kind of that, you know, take that negative meaning, the same as you would in astrology, and put it towards the cards. And just by looking at them, you can kind of see, like, okay, so I have, again, the Knight of Pentacles. So he's holding on to his money here, but if it's, and you know, he's cultivating it, maybe he's investing it, say for instance, if it is a money reading. But if it's in a negative or a reversal, then that could mean that he's a spendthrift, maybe he's losing his money, maybe he already invested and it's not working out well. So you want to always look at also which way it's facing. So if it's facing ahead, it's looking ahead. If it's facing back, then it's dealing with blocks from the past. So there could be a future block that's coming up. If it's in a negative area, that could be a future block and a future warning. If it's looking back, it's difficulty from blocks in the past. So that kind of is a Chiron type thing. So, you know, maybe that baggage holding you back. So if you get, you know, it looking back, so you have the Page of Swords and upside down, and it's looking reversed. So it's looking at a past card. You could be looking back instead of looking forward, and that could be the issue that's going on. So definitely always want to, you know, use all the different techniques. You want to use the element. Okay, if it's Page of Swords, it's ideas, it's our thoughts, it's our, you know, and if it's reversed, then that's looking back and we're having some trouble, maybe some thought blockages. Maybe I'm writing a book and I keep having a mental block. Well, that could be why. You could have an upside down page in there. You're having trouble getting started. So what it also could mean is that there could be someone hindering you. So, again, with the suit or the element, you want to see who might be a hindrance on you that could be stopping you from going for your goals and getting what you're kind of trying to achieve. So I kind of like to think of them in keywords. So if you're not super familiar with astrology, here's some keywords when you think of, we'll start with wands. That's the fire signs again. So the wands are the fire signs. Wands here. So they're about momentum, ambition, trailblazing. It's kind of the Aries kind of version of it. And then Leo is that pride, that being a leader. And then with Sagittarius, it's taking that chance. It's rolling the dice and going for it. So then moving on to, say, the cups, we'll use the Rider-Waite for this. So cups, it's Cancer, so that's intuition, that's nurturing, empathy. Then we have Scorpio, that can be devotion or obsession even. And then Pisces is that acceptance and that just kind of free-flowy going with the feels. Then we have swords. So swords, we have our air signs. So that is our thinking, and it's our logic, our mental agility. We have, representations of, say, the Libra, the cardinal, which is justice, equality, fairness, balance. So we know from what we just learned that the King of Swords is Libra. So when you see the King of Swords come up, he wants justice, he wants equality, he wants fairness, he wants balance. So you see how you can use it all together to make it all make sense. So you just look at that, say, oh, King, Cardinal, oh, Swords, that's air. And so what is that card? That's going to be similar to Libra. So that's justice, equality, fairness, balance. And then say we have, then we have the fixed sign being Aquarius. So Aquarius is about, seeing the truth, that, seeing through lies, doing things, doing the right thing. And when you think about Aquarius, what do you think about? You think about, people that just fight for other people's rights. So that is the Queen. That's kind of cultivating that being understanding and being, that good-hearted and wanting to help people, do the right thing, that humanitarian, overcoming adversity, overcoming obstacles, and knowing the truth. And then finally, we have the Knight of Swords, which is the mutable, and that is Gemini, and that is that mental agility, knowing fact from fiction again, and just knowing all the facts. If you know anyone that's a Gemini, they want to know everything about everything, and they get down to the nitty-gritty. So the same thing. So then we move on to Pentacles. So now Pentacles, again, or coins, if you have ones that are called coins, that's the Earth sign, the keywords for the Earth. So we have Capricorn, so that's career-driven, that's that kind of boss, that's our manager, CEO, that's career-driven, the person that has all the knowledge, say, of this career, or, maybe it's our, an investor, an investment firm that we're investing money with. Taurus, that is the Queen. So that is the fixed sign. So that's more mutable, or that's more, not mutable. It's fixed, so it's steadfast, grounded. That kind of maybe financial breakthrough, money and cultivating that money, maybe putting it away in safekeeping and letting it just kind of mature on its own, maybe in 401k or something like that. And if not, maybe you're just making interest on it. And then of course we have the Knight, and that is that perfectionist, just kind of like wanting things to be just right, and having to cut out the excess, and having perfection, just wanting things to be exactly how we want things to be. So now, court cards in the different positions. So say I have some examples here. So everyone knows the Celtic cross. I know it's a little bit small. but if you know pretty much the layout, you have, kind of the negative ones, the hopes and fears. We have hopes and fears, your desire or your fear about a topic. What is being hoped and feared? You want to look at, is it a person that's aiding to it, or is it, just something that you're doing mentally that is, being in a bad position. So the advice area positions, who may guide us. So then we have our outside influences. So who might be helping us? So say it's, we're in a new relationship, and that card comes up. Say we have the Knight of Cups, and we have it in that outside influences position. So who is helping us? Who is that outside influence that's helping us maybe in this relationship? Maybe it's our wingman or someone, a friend, a mutual friend that's kind of like talking. So like I would put if I was doing a reading back when I met my husband, I would put, say, my sister in that position, because she was the one that was telling him certain things and telling me certain things and trying to get us together, which obviously ended up working. So the pages. So with a page card, you don't want to be naive. So if this is about you, maybe it's too soon to get started on something. You want to wait for a message. You might want to wait for that messenger, someone that's going to kind of give you a little bit more information so that you can move forward. You have that optimism. You have that, that will, but the drive isn't there. You're young, you're immature, you're not really sure how to proceed. So then we have the Knights. So when do we take that action? So that shows now the actions have to be taken. So we'll say in Cups, for instance, so taking that action is going after that love interest. I kind of like that one better when we look at the Knight of Cups. So he's going almost like he's presenting the cup to somebody. So the horse is going along, it's, going up to maybe the love interest, and he kind of has a cup like he's almost presenting it, like kind of giving it an offering. So I always like that one for an example card for the Knights. Or if, it's somebody like, oh, the love interest, and you get this card. Well, that love interest is somebody that's charging forward and is like, I am ready for this relationship. So if you see this one come up and it is in, say, this position of the three, then, or maybe it's charging towards you. But if it's in a reversal, it could be charging away from you. So if it's charging away from you, you always want to see which way it's facing. If it's charging away from you, then maybe they're trying to get away from you. So maybe it's not meant to be. Then the Queen, say Pentacles. We'll say the Queen of Pentacles. That's that nurturing, that working with money that you have to grow it financially. Maybe she's your financial advisor, or she's your investor. She's helping you. If it's with a health reading, maybe it is somebody that's helping you with your workout routine. Maybe it's a personal trainer. So it's kind of that a more controlled maturity. So then, of course, we have the King, and that just really, say we have the King of Swords. That is that, they have that knowledge down. So that is, maybe our professors. They know, and they are, it also can represent your father, the father figure. In career, past or present. In a past position, a lot of times it is more of a father figure. In the future, it could be a future boss, a future in-law, father-in-law, perhaps. They're the logical ones. They're the ones that kind of, tell you how to do things and give you their advice. Maybe a mentor. Could be a male or a female. It doesn't necessarily have to be whatever sex is in the card picture. It could be any. So a king in a reading, say in your career. say in the obstacle position. So if it could be your manager or your boss maybe causing you issues. So if you have a king here and you're doing a 3-card reading on, am I going to get that raise that I'm looking for? And the king either comes up in the obstacles. If he comes up in the obstacle, okay, so maybe you have a manager that's kind of holding you back, or maybe you have a boss that, is maybe a little bit stingy with money. So say if it's Pentacles, could be a little stingy with money. Say the King of Swords comes up. Maybe that boss isn't listening to your ideas. Maybe that's the hindrance that you're having. So it comes up in a negative area, maybe that's what it is. Maybe if you have the King of Cups, maybe he's just, in a negative position, maybe he's just not being very nice. Maybe he's not cultivating your, so it really just kind of depends. Love can show, maturity, stability. So it really just depends on the type of reading that you're doing. If you have a lot of court cards, it could be a lot of people coming in and out of your life, or you're letting a lot of people influence you a little bit too much, maybe. Maybe you're not just influencing yourself, you're listening to too many other people. This could be true in love readings when, say, maybe your friends are telling you, like, this person's not good enough, this person's not, but to you, they're great, but you're listening to your friends. So you kind of want to just see where the card falls to see if it's a positive or negative influence. And it also, each card represents a level of maturity. So if you think about, we'll say, pages. So if a page comes up, the pages are probably the most immature. The knights, they're like that gung-ho, they're ready to go. The queens are the more mature, but they're, oops, I put up the wrong cards there. So the page is like the immature. Knights are a little bit more mature, but they might be a little too gung-ho. They might be a little too rash. Emotional maturity is cups. Mental and intellectual maturity is swords. Career or social maturity is the wands. And financial or physical maturity is the pentacles. So, if you even just look at, say pentacles, for instance, I would say the page is like a youth, very young, kind of has the youthful body, and then the knight maybe a little more grown up, but still not, and then we have the queen. You think of that mothery, kind of developed, and then of course the king would be that mature older man. So again, lots of court cards, a lot of people coming in and out of your life. It really depends. Are they going to be of help to you, or are they going to be of negative, depending on their position? Check out the position, and if they're upright or reversed, depending on if you use that. Maybe you let others influence you too much, or maybe there's some form of destiny is happening. Here you can't control what others are doing, but you can control yourself. So you want to use their energy, but you can't control that. But how can I use it to my benefit? So you want to work with these people in your life that come up in these readings for the change that you're going for. It holds true with astrology as well when you really think about it. And I like to think of that prayer, that Lord, help me to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So it's really just about knowing what you can do, how to work with things to make change, if change is possible. Just because it's a bad card, it comes up, does not mean your life's going to be horrible, that things aren't going to work out. Some with bad placements, it's same as with a bad aspect, like a square in astrology. Sometimes there's just going to be a little bit harder to get through. So I always say work with the difficult cards, because that's how we grow and mature. That's using that Saturnial energy. They put in the work for change. You grow, and you'll get what you're deserving of. Work is hard. Growing up is hard sometimes too. Sometimes just going back to being a kid seems like, oh, I'd much rather be that than an adult. Adulting stinks. But overcoming those obstacles, it's worth it when you put the work in. It's that satisfaction that you get. So that is about it with the court cards. I hope you guys get a little more understanding. So always check out, of course the picture. Then you want to look at the element and what modality it is, cardinal, and then go from there, and everything should come a little bit easier. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any comments, I would love to see them in the comment section. And remember to like and subscribe. We'll be doing a little bit more with tarot coming up, probably one tarot and one astrology a week. So stay tuned, and we can maybe fine tune our skills in both. I look forward to hearing from all of y'all, so I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.